Hey there, this is Matt Wilhelmi, the author of Taboo Business Questions, What's Haunting Every Entrepreneur's Growth. And I am chatting with my good friend, Bruno Hilgart, author of French Fry Leadership. And we were just talking about this event that Bruno has coming up in a few weeks on September 12th. He is headlining the Learning and Development Committee's Boost Your Business Symposium, which is also sponsored by the St. Charles Area of Commerce. Bruno, this is great. Congratulations.
Yes, I'm honored to be a part of this big event. It's September 12th in the morning, all morning. I'm excited to share some of the things that we've already talked about today with business leaders and entrepreneurs on making sure that they're maximizing the investment they have made to create jobs. I mean, let's face it, without entrepreneurship, without risk takers, the rest of us wouldn't have jobs. So we always want to respect that. At the same time, there's a lot of opportunities out there because there's a real disconnect in leadership today. As you may have mentioned in the previous segments, there's a lot of leaders who are put in positions to fail, and it's not their fault. They just haven't been taught how to lead, motivate, and inspire people.
Yeah, I think that, we've talked a lot about leadership. Obviously, that's, the point of your book in the title is specifically with this French fry leadership concept and some of the things that you've learned in quite a while, working in corporate America and running different franchise operations. You mentioned just nonchalantly that you were the franchise of the year one year. That's amazing. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, in 2003, we were at the global convention and we were a franchisee of the year. And it's based on a lot of different metrics, from turnover to sales to traffic counts to keeping up with the image in your restaurants. It was quite a matrix of things. And it was an honor. That the award was literally like getting an Academy Award, and something we're really proud of. And, it led to a lot of other things that, because as we did well, the franchise community as well as the corporation wanted us to spread the wealth. So, for example, our local franchise representative, who managed about 50 to 60 restaurants, she used our restaurants to train new franchisees to new product rollouts. She used our restaurants to do that because she knew we were going to have all the proper training materials in place. We were going to have all the proper procedures posted. The restaurants were going to be clean and organized. And then I was asked to serve on a government affairs committee. I've been to Washington, D.C. 4 times in my career, in senators and congressmen's offices, educating them and the people who work for them about proposed legislation that many times would have made it more difficult for us to take care of our team members and our managers. I served on an operations excellence advisory committee, which at the time we were rolling out a new broiler. There was new products and new procedures that were presented by the corporation. And in many cases, we actually stopped some of that stuff from happening because it wasn't realistic or affordable out here in the franchise community. I served on local Chicago marketing committees to decide how we wanted to communicate with the Chicago market on promotions and advertising, as well as working with vendors on a local distribution committee. I talk about it in the book, how important it is that as a business owner, we all have vendors that are supporting us on some level, and they should be vendor partners. For example, one of our vendor partners that would work on an HVAC unit on the roof, if they took off 6 screws on the unit to access it, to take care of it, they should put 6 back. Because if they don't, those 3 laying on the roof could get stepped on, and now we have a leak in our roof that leads to an image problem in our dining room. And our vendors were partners. They knew that we weren't paying their bills, Matt. It was literally the people that were putting the fries and Whopper sandwiches in their mouths that were paying the bills. So all of their team members and service people understood that. I backed it up by making sure that when they were in our restaurants, that I would go there and appreciate their work on a 90-degree day on our roof, trying to fix our air conditioning or do preventive maintenance on it. I have a chapter in the book that talks about a visit that I made to one of the vendors on a Saturday morning to buy them some pizza, to show their people how important it is that they come to our restaurants with clean trucks and with spray bottles to clean, when they take the used shortening out of our restaurants and spill on the wall. I mean, every little thing matters. We had high standards, high expectations, but we recognized people who gave that to us and rewarded them by being loyal to them.
Well, that's great, Bruno. I think that, obviously you're, talking about this leadership concept in your book. You're, just a testament to, the proof is in the pudding. And I think that anyone who's interested in learning more needs to check out the Boost Your Business Symposium through the St. Charles Area Chamber of Commerce. Again, that date is September 12th, 2023. It's in the morning. It looks like it's going to be a good turnout. There's some other speakers that are supporting you, but I think that, headlining it's a big deal. But, the other thing, Bruno, I wanted to kind of touch on was this idea of vendor partners, because especially in small business land, and it sounds like, when you're working in the franchise world, it's very similar. You're relying on these vendor partners for a lot, whether it's your image, whether it's timeliness, whether it's fulfillment of something. If they fail at their role, you look bad. And it's very tough to come back from that. And I can think about in my role specifically as a CFO, if I'm relying on a vendor partner for a report to be created or for a software to be developed the proper way, and it doesn't work, that looks real bad on me. And so those relationships need to be maintained. They need to be fostered. They need to be nurtured. What are some vendor relationships that you can think of that are like your most maybe important vendor relationships when you were in the franchise world and kind of running different franchises?
Well, before I answer that question, I want to say to you, I really have a lot of respect for you because, as you are helping other businesses in your role as a CFO, you have your own business to manage and run. So you have people working for you as well, and maybe your own CFO that helps you with your business. So it's an amazing thought process that I was thinking about before we had this call. But vendor partners, I mean, you have national vendor partners such as Coke and suppliers of beef, and then you have more regional partners of, like, say, buns and then you do more like a local vendor partners for landscaping, and you have people that you use for repair and maintenance and things. And of course, you get economies of scale when you have a big brand like Burger King in a lot of cases. But you are dealing with local people as well. And some of the things that were important to us was, we didn't always go with the vendor. Like, for example, we picked a garbage vendor one time, not because they had the best pricing, but they had very competitive pricing, but their trucks were the cleanest. Because let's face it, when they pull on our lots, it's part of the image. Do you want a really nasty looking garbage truck with garbage spitting out of the back of it, picking up your garbage while people are deciding to order food at your restaurant? I didn't think so. So these are the kind of things that we, helped us make decisions. And vendors being partners of another business is, they have the same challenges that we do, but yet it's important for their teams to understand their role in helping us be able to be successful. I mean, it helped, honestly, that we paid our bills on time. And if we didn't, we called them and said, hey, you know what? That bill was really more expensive. Can we just pay half of it this month and half of it next month? And just making those kind of calls and having that open line of communication made it such that the vendors were always fine with it. Because let's face it, they knew they were going to get paid. And they didn't have to chase money.
One of the things that, you've alluded to here is this leadership context from a different lens. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of times when people think of leaders, maybe they think of their boss, maybe they think of the CEO of their company. But in this context you just kind of unpacked, there's this new leadership dynamic where you're now leading people that you're not the boss of necessarily. You're their vendor partner. And you, as a good partnership, you both need to be held accountable to high standards. And there's a lot of sensitivity that I'm sure goes into that, because you're not just a leader of, the 40 or 50 people that are working at the restaurant. Now you're a leader of all of these vendor relationships too. That's a lot that goes into making the show kind of go the way that the show is supposed to go.
I think showing respect for everybody is critical in leadership. Not the truck is not going to have every part on it, Matt, to fix that piece of equipment necessarily that needs to be fixed. And they may have to order it. I mean, that's just the reality of it all. Now, next time we'll know that, we should stock that part for us and that shouldn't happen so we don't have delays. There's times where traffic is an issue. Why aren't they here yet? Our drink system is broken down. I mean, there's traffic issues and all kinds of challenges that they're having on their end. And the more that we can be realistic about that and understanding about it, we're not their only customer. I mean, if we were their only customer, they probably wouldn't be in business very long. And yet, because we treated them the way we treated them, they prioritized us over other customers because we paid our bills on time, we respected what they did, we valued what they did, and we let them know that. And that's all people want, some recognition, Matt. It doesn't matter. I mean, any relationship, it's people just want to know that they're being appreciated, that their work matters, and their work is worthwhile.
That's great. As we wrap up our time today, Bruno, I wanted to just kind of highlight maybe the point of, the underlying principles, I guess, in my book, and then I'll let you, talk about yours for a second. But in Taboo Business Questions, What's Haunting Every Entrepreneur's Growth, I dive into some of these concepts, that business owners don't even know what questions to ask necessarily. I call them blind spots. And if they don't address them, they're really kind of not even getting, the proper attention on some things that need to be fixed. And so I would encourage anyone who's watching this video that wants to learn more about entrepreneurship or small business leadership to check out my book, Taboo Business Questions, What's Haunting Every Entrepreneur's Growth. And also, Bruno, for you, what's kind of the takeaway from your book? I mean, I think that we could all agree that we need to have better leaders, and maybe some of us want to be better leaders, but what's kind of the underlying tone and the takeaway that people would get from your book?
Well, the title of the book being French Fry Leadership, How to Attain Profits Through Serving People, is that when we serve people properly, we profit in more ways than just money. The people you profit, it's a win-win-win-win, meaning the company, the employees, the clients. I mean, they all win when you take care of people properly. And you mentioned in your previous statement there about blind spots. It's up to leadership to remove it. And I actually bring it up in the book. I call them speed bumps, potholes. But it's in some ways they're excuses. But it's up to leadership to remove those types of excuses. Give the people all the training they need. Give them all the tools to be successful. And then get the heck out of their way. Great leaders know, don't micromanage them. Great leaders know that when things go well, you pass on the credit to everybody else. And when things don't go well, which invariably they will not go well sometimes, they step up and take accountability without pointing fingers. It does no good to say, well, I don't know why Matt's not doing it. We trained him how to do it. Throwing you under the bus solves nothing. Leadership is about taking accountability, taking ownership in every situation, and saying something like, instead of saying, well, I don't know why Matt's not doing it, saying, you know what, that's right. We need to improve. We'll go back to the team. We'll discuss it. And great leaders are soliciting ideas from people. Many people, the people that have the best ideas a lot of times are the people on the front lines doing the work. And even if we only use 10% of their idea, Matt, we give them all the credit because then they're willing to run through walls with us. Notice how I said with us and not for us, because through it all, our teams need to realize and feel that their leaders are willing to get dirty as necessary with them and not sit in an office all day behind a computer.
Wow, that's great. Bruno, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really looking forward to, going back and seeing, the history of kind of the leadership journey that you described, but also looking forward to hearing about your symposium.
Thanks you, Matt. It's been an honor to be with you today. And thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule for me.